Look at this thing. Welcome back to Oscar Overlander. This week will be a short video. You may be happy about it, but due to the circumstances which are, do you know these things? And you have two lines. No good, no good, but yeah, that's where I'm in right now. I'm in for 5 days and I'm doing better now, but it probably takes another few days, to get through it completely, so I feel motivated again. Or I'm motivated, but as soon as I want to do something, I'm out of breath, and I really, yes. Okay, anyway, let me show you about the painting, on the habitat, on the steel structure. This is what I did last Friday before all this started. Also, last week I picked up the subframe. I will show you that one. This should go to the front, that end. Oh, it's looking beautiful. Look at this thing. That is looking very beautiful. So my subframe is now back since 2 weeks. I haven't done anything on it. I placed that paint there. I'll show you that in a moment. Now I have to clean them up a little bit. What you see here. That's what I said, right? 500 kilogram. After zinking. I'm just trying to find some spots to show you where I have to clean it up. So basically, you see here, like these holes, they need to be reopened. Yeah, same. They all need to be reamed open. And here, for example, there's a prime example here, that need to be re-drilled so that I have the full access in this hole. So that's all. Just the holes need to be cleaned up, and then I will paint this whole unit with this paint, direct to metal, and that's a flat enamel. So I don't want it really glossy or anything. Just the paint basically has only the effect to change the color, because this is the only thing I want. Not so shiny. I don't want that shining out of underneath the habitat, basically. So that's why I painted black. I have this habitat completely grinded flat, all the beads where it's important, For example, up there it's not important, like there you see here around that roof rafter, it's not grinded, it's not important, but this need to be flat because my insulation runs over it. Okay? So that is done everywhere, inside and out, So now I have to clean up. Look at this, grinding dust everywhere. There's probably 2 dustpans full. I have to clean up the shop now, blow all the profiles off from the dust, and clean up the shop. And then I'm going to wipe all these steel profiles down with brake cleaner. What I have done is I cleaned the whole structure, except the bottom, I do that later. But I cleaned the whole structure, and now I sanded the outer surface. So you can see here, it's all scuffed up. So, and it turned out that I started it with the oscillating sander, and I used 40 grit paper. You know, you can see it here. Can you? 40. Anyway, it's 40 grit sanding paper, but I ran out of it, and then I had to find an alternative. And it turns out that this flat blade for 40 grit, you know, is the most efficient one. So I went around the whole thing in basically no time. Going to wipe it down again with a brake cleaner, and then I give it a coat. Now I have primed the whole habitat. On the outside, I used a roller. I rolled it on with a roller, you know, and then on the inside, this is all rolled with a roller. You know, the layer is maybe a little thicker. But the inside, I painted it with the spray gun. That was a lot faster. So I did the painting with the primer in preparation of the installation of the aluminum sheets. Yeah, I applied that primer because of that. Why? Because, or let's put it that way. Sika would say, you know, Sika, remember the glue? I use 252, right? Not this one, on that one. This, I used it for gluing on the PVC strips on the steel before I put the aluminum frame in there, you know, like the window frame. So just that too. But anyway, I just want to show you the logo. I'm going to apply glue on the steel, you know, and then put the aluminum sheets against it. So Zika would say, don't put anything on there, you know, because of course, if you want to bond two components, aluminum and steel, you know, with the glue in between, if you want to bond two components, it's not good to bring a third one in between. It makes absolute sense, you know, but we have here bare steel, you know, and it will rust if there is any moisture on it, like any condensation or something. And we don't know that. So that's why just preventative, I want to put something on there. If there is some condensation behind the aluminum, you never know, you know, then it doesn't start rusting right away, you know. So that's why I choose a rust preventative. Let me read it. It's better I read it. It's a, oh my God, I'm getting older here. Rust preventative primer. Can you read it? Right there. Primer, you use a primer. I mean, there's probably painters under you guys, you know it exactly. You know, I'm not a painter. A primer is basically there to prep the surface for the next layer. You know, that's what a primer does. This is what I don't need. I need prevention, like rust prevention. That's what I need. And that's why I choose this primer here, you know, because it has a rust preventative formula in it. And that is all. I don't put a second coat on it or anything like another paint. This is the way it stays. And then I'm going to clad that with aluminum, you know. But here's the thing. As I learned with the paint, you know, that you have to roughen the surface so that the paint adheres to it really good. This one is very, very good, you know. I did a test with a chassis saver. It's called chassis saver. The chassis saver I'm using to put it on my truck, you know, like to paint my truck frame, you know. And it's perfect going over an old coat of paint or even over rust, you know. But it's pretty clear. If you go over rust, that's how can you have a more coarse or rougher surface than rust, right? It basically glazes, sugar glazes the whole frame, you know, and packs them in and looks almost brand new, you know. So that's what chassis saver does, basically, you know. It doesn't let any oxygen on the steel anymore, and it can't rust. It stops rusting, right? So that's what it does. And I did that with a little chassis saver. I did a test paint on the bare metal here, you know, without sanding or priming or doing anything. I just cleaned the oil off, you know, and painted it. And that wasn't good. That wasn't good, because when I took an alpha knife and I scraped it off, it came off like this, you know, like plastic. Of course, that's what this stuff is for, right? It glazes this object and prevents it from getting oxygen to it. And it came off the steel, no problem. So, and just imagine you put your, you leave it like that, and then you put your aluminum sheets on it, you know, like, then you stay somewhere, the sheets falling off, you're sitting inside there. Well, I'm just, okay. So, and this is why I sanded all profiles before I painted it with the primer, you know. And then even later, when I applied the activator and the primer for Sika glue, you know, that's not sure it's in the next video, but because I'm still waiting on those deliveries, you know. But even then, I will sand this outer surface. Not on the inside, because I'm not gluing anything on there, but on the outer surface, I'm gluing the panels against it, you know, and I will sand this again, you know, not down to the bare metal, but I roughen the surface of the primer, for sure. Richard Krabi had a question. One question for you, my friend. A lot of guys buy composite panels and fiberglass extrusion from a supplier, like Total Composite, and use them to build their habitation box without the steel frame. What is the advantage to building it the way you are doing it with a steel frame? Shout out to you, my friend, because Richard Krabi is one of my first subscribers, you know, like basically not the very first one, but the very, very early ones, you know. Like, I remember he subscribed to my channel at least a year ago. Shout out to you. To answer that, that's not so easy, because if you order the sandwich panels, you know, and the extrusion himself as a kit, and you install it with your friend's help or family help, you know, like yourself, then you save for sure money, you know. So how do we get to it? So basically, let's say if you buy a empty habitation, an empty box from a supplier, ready, done, made, you know, without doors, hatches, windows, just an empty box, the shell themselves, you know, I would say this size, like 16 feet at the bottom, 18 feet at the top, with that jog, you know, or leave the jog away, just a square box, you know, a rectangular box. I would say that size for a truck like mine, you know, 18 feet, let's say roughly, between 25,000 and 40,000 Canadian dollar. I know 40,000 is maybe a little higher. I'm not talking about this one specific supplier, which was named in that question. You know, it is basically an average kind of thing, you know, like there's multiple suppliers of that, you know, and if you take the most affordable one and the most expensive one, you find an average price. So that's the range where it will move in, you know, $25,000 to $40,000, I would say. You know, I have never asked for a specific price, you know, because for me it was always clear I'm doing it by myself. And initially, I was planning to build my structure out of aluminum, you know, the bones, like you see it here in steel. But I changed it for two reasons. The first reason was in 2022, last year, when I made detailed plans for my habitat, I looked at the aluminum prices and they peaked like for a ton for $3,600 US. So it's kind of, I'm orientating myself on the aluminum prices worldwide, right? So it was going up as it has never seen before, right? And that's where I changed my mind for the material, going from aluminum to steel. And I did that with confidence because I also learned when I took that utility box off that I need weight at the back, so it was okay to change to steel, you know. And then also, steel is by far cheaper than aluminum, you know. Using the word cheap on this, what I'm doing, you know, like, or we all doing, is totally wrong, because nothing is cheap what we're doing here. You know, maybe more affordable is the right saying, is the right word to use. You know, so that's this just for that. So already done, empty cap, you know, like, or a box, it's 25 to 40, I would say. If somebody knows it better, you know, or more exact, please put it in the comments. It would be interesting for all of us, right? So, but if you go to order a kit, you know, like the sandwich panels cut to size and are ready to install with all the extrusion you need to put them together, you know, I checked the market prices, like in Europe. That's easier, because there is suppliers for that, but not many. So, and they don't make their prices like they don't lay it open. You know, like, you have to ask them for a specific price for your project, and they quote it, and then they give you a price. You know, so that's why I looked it up in Europe. There is basically a square meter. They go by meters. So a square meter of composite panel, you know, it's between 160 and 200 euro. Okay, so that is now, let's say, 50 to 60 millimeters, or 2-inch to 2 3/8 thickness. Yeah, mine changes, would change, you know, because I have 75 mil insulation. So I have on the end almost 100 millimeter wall thickness. Yeah, almost 4 inches. But it's too bad. It's a little too early, because I'm talking about insulation and stuff in the upcoming videos. Okay, so just leave it as that. That equals, in Canadian dollar, you know, a range between 160 to 200 euro equals 230 to 288 Canadian dollar for a 50 to 60 millimeter wall. So this habitat has roughly 65 square meter. Yeah. Roof, sides, back, front, and also the bottom, right? So let's say I took the most expensive one, 288. It's not really expensive, because I doubt that you can buy a sandwich panel for $288 a square meter here, which is almost 10 square feet, you know. I doubt it, because I have never ever seen a European product, you know, or European kind style product sold here to a fair value market, or even cheaper than in Europe. You know what I'm saying? So this is not going to happen. But anyway, that's why I took the 288 for the square meter amount, 65. That means 65 square meter priced by $288 is $18,720, just by doing the math. Okay, no taxes, no import cost, no nothing. So this is just the panels, no extrusion, you know, which you need on the sides and everywhere, you know, like there's no connectors, no cutouts, no additional, no reinforcements. You know, you might need reinforcements somewhere where you want to hang a cabinet off or some other stuff, you know. So nothing like that is in that price. It's just the plain panel. Right? So $18,000 already. So that's why you see I'm not that far away with my $25,000 to $40,000 for an empty box. You know. So yeah, that's for an empty box. Okay. So now why I'm doing this with steel? Because I don't need even 50% of those costs to make that. Yeah, just roughly $5,000 for the steel. $3,000 for the aluminum sheets outside, $2,000 for the plywood inside, $1,700. If you saw my videos, you know, like, or the previous videos, you see always that big pile of insulation. Down there, you see the 1 inch. You know, it's in my shop for more than a year now. But I have that purchased quite a while ago. Thanks God I did, because the prices, they went up through the roof. Not through the roof, but they are more expensive now because of the situation we're in, right? So yeah, so all this added up, I'm ending up on 12. Is that answering your question? And in general, is it for me important that I can do it myself? That's all my channel is about. Like, do it yourself, you know. I'm not going to make my own water pumps, you know, and I'm not doing that. But in case of the windows, last video I talked about making your own windows, because you can, if you wrap your head around it, you can save thousands of dollars. If I can save $10, I'm not going to do that. You know, I hope that makes sense. So this is it for me for this week, you know, and next week I'm sure I feel better, you know, and then I continue on the habitat. I'm starting probably gluing in the bottom plates, and I will see you Friday next week.